Hello, my name is Elad Kedar and I am the CEO of Orasis Pharmaceuticals. Orasis is engaged in the development of a pharmaceutical eye drop for the treatment of presbyopia as an alternative to reading glasses. I've been leading the company since inception and proof of concept stage, all the way through all relevant development stages, and until where we are now, we are already engaged in our phase 3 studies towards approval of the drug. The team at Orasis and I are really proud of all the achievements to date, but are also very excited towards the next steps, basically transforming the company from a development stage into a commercial stage company, and eventually bringing to the market a product that will improve vision and quality of life for so many people with presbyopia around the world. Let me share with you the details. Presbyopia is just everywhere. It's an age-related phenomena that starts usually at the age of 40 to 45 and eventually hits almost everybody. This is why there are so many people with presbyopia around the world, more than almost 2 billion people globally, more than 120 million only in the US. And yet, the most common solution for presbyopia is reading glasses, something that was invented centuries ago. And while reading glasses do the work, they do come with very clear limitations. On the aesthetic side, on the convenience side, above all, reading glasses are one of the very first signs of aging. And this is causing a lot of frustration to many people with presbyopia. And moreover, when presbyopia hits you, it hits you just everywhere. So for example, it reminds you of your presbyopia when you're looking at your smartphone, and we all know how dependent we've all become on those devices. But it will also hit you when you're going to a restaurant and you want to read the menu, or when you go to the supermarket and you want to look at the label of the food that you want to buy. And the list just goes on and on. And all of those together create a real unmet need and a real market opportunity. And this is where we come in at Orasis. The whole essence of Orasis is making near vision clear for all those people with presbyopia out there. And the way we are going to do so is through empowering them with unparalleled solution that will give them both comfort and control of their near vision. And let me share with you how we are going to do so. But before that, just a few words on what is actually required from an alternative to reading glasses, in our case, coming in the form of a pharmaceutical eye drop. So firstly, obviously, is efficacy, improving near vision. But it's actually not the only element in efficacy. It's also critical that while the near vision is being improved, it will not come on the account of distance vision. This is probably self-explanatory. You do not want to put an eye drop, improve your near vision, and then, for example, you go out and you cannot drive. By now, it's a formal FDA requirement, improving near vision without affecting distance. The second element, safety, straightforward. Here, it's a quality of life segment. There can be no compromise on safety. And finally, comfort. It's a product we want people to use on a daily basis. We want them to feel comfortable when they use it. We want them to have the freedom to choose when to use it. We walk through a very well-known mechanism of action, pupil modulation, which is creating what is called pinhole effects, increase in depth of field, and this is what is correcting presbyopia. Essentially the same concept as we see in photography. So if this is such a well-known mechanism, the question is, what's the challenge? How come there hasn't been any other drug for presbyopia so far? And the answer is that finding that sweet spot, that area where you have great near vision without a compromising on distance vision and on night vision and on safety and tolerability, finding that sweet spot apparently is quite a big challenge. And the sweet spot comes in efficacy. So creating a pinhole effect or a pupil reduction, which is too low, will not generate the desired near vision effect. If we're making a pupil reduction which is too high, we may get a good near vision, but it will compromise distance and night vision, for example, and a few others. And the sweet spot is also on the safety. If we are using a concentration which is too high, In our case, in a meiotic agent, pilocarpine, there is no question mark. There are going to be adverse events such as headache and brow ache and eye redness, and all those adverse events cannot work in a quality of life product for presbyopia. So after many years of development and then optimization, we actually found that winning combination, that product that allowed us to show the optimal balance between efficacy, safety, and comfort. And the core of the product is the low-dose pilocarpine, and to be a bit more specific here, significantly below the glaucoma range of pilocarpine. Pilocarpine has been used for decades for glaucoma at concentrations ranging from 1 to 4%, and it has been known that in such a concentration, there is an impact on distance vision or night vision, and there are several adverse events such as headache and brow ache and eye redness. With our low dose, we're able to gain great near vision without compromising on distance, and also gain a great safety and tolerability profile. But the low dose pilo is far from being the only element. Every other element in our formula was designed to support the performance of the drug. And eventually, combining all of those together, the ingredients we chose, their concentrations, and several other formula elements, such as, for example, it's a preservative-free formula, all of them together helped to gain the optimal balance between efficacy, safety, and comfort. So in terms of data, let's start with our phase 2B. That was quite a comprehensive study that we completed about a year and a half ago in the US. That study was basically designed not only to continue the development of our program, but also to de-risk our path to market. And the way we applied this approach was, firstly, we designed a study protocol which was very similar, in many aspects identical to what we are doing now in our phase 3. And secondly, it was quite a well-powered study with more than 160 patients, multi-center repeated BID administration study. And results indeed have been really exceptional. So on efficacy, on the left-hand side, you see the primary endpoint of the study, 3-line or more improvement in near vision. And as you can see, close to 50% success rates with very strong p-values. And on the right-hand side, you see another formal endpoint in our study, 2-line improvements, naturally even higher success rates. And the reason why we've always been choosing 2-line as a formal endpoint in the study is because we know that while we are required to demonstrate 3-line, 2-line are still considered meaningful by physicians and more importantly for patients, especially those younger presbyopes, the ones that have been glasses free for about 45 years and suddenly their near vision is deteriorating. For many of them, even 1.5 line improvement will bring them back to what they used to have and will allow them to delay reading glasses by a few more years. And this is really, really important. So that's efficacy near. Efficacy distance is also critical. And on distance, not only that we're not showing any reduction, we even showed a small trend for improvement in distance vision. And finally, safety and tolerability. In all our studies, including this phase 2B, we have shown great safety and tolerability profile with very small number of adverse events, and more importantly, all of them mild and temporary. In addition, we even demonstrated great results on tolerability. So for example, eye redness, essentially no eye redness, no change in eye redness throughout the study, and also great results on comfort scale. Bottom line, efficacy, safety, and comfort. Our phase 2B has completed successfully in all of those and allowed us to move directly into our phase 3 studies. The design of our phase 3, as I mentioned earlier, is very similar to what we already did in our phase 2B. This time it's 2 studies in line with the FDA requirements, NEAR 1 and NEAR 2, 300 patients in each study. And we started enrollment late last year. The enrollment goes really well, and we're expecting to complete enrollment and move ahead directly into submission later this year. So this is on the clinical side. Moving now into commercial. We are gradually developing the company from a development stage into a commercial stage company. And there are three main pillars in our work. One, preparing the organization for the launch. So two main components there. One, we want to make sure we understand the market, we understand the patients properly. And we've done quite a robust market research study with Kedar Health with more than 1,000 patients and more than 100 eye care professionals that gave us great understanding of patients' behaviors, physicians' preferences, and so on and so forth. That has been a great foundation, but we are continuing to study the market and to understand all the needs of our customers. Another pillar is developing the organization, getting the right talent, and building the right culture in order to be able to successfully launch our product. So that's in terms of preparing the organization. The other element is preparing the product. So obviously completing our phase 3 studies, but also making all other relevant preparations in all other relevant verticals on the pre-commercial activities, manufacturing, and several others. And finally, preparing the market for the product, making sure that the market is getting the right level of knowledge about this new way of treatment of presbyopia, and later on of how we at Orasis are going to present a differentiated product that can be potentially a first line and a market leader in this robust segment. To summarize, firstly, it's a huge market opportunity, there is no doubt, a big market and very clear unmet need. Secondly, we have a product that by now, given all the work we have been doing throughout the past several years, it's significantly de-risked and predictable. And finally, given the unique characterization of our products, enabling really an optimal balance between efficacy, safety, and comfort, we believe that we have a strong product with a potential to be not only a first line, but also a market leader within this potentially gigantic segment that is being created. Thank you very much, and I look forward to share with you more good news later on.